Okay, welcome back to the DataTrust Data Protection BrainShare series of videos. Today I'm going to look at the whole concept of seed loading. Now, seed loading basically is a technology that allows us to avoid sending large amounts of backup data over the internet. Basically, the backup, rather than being sent over the internet to DataTrust, is sent to a local storage medium, for example, an external hard drive, and then it's shipped to DataTrust by post, by courier, whatever, and we store it in the appropriate account. Bear in mind that in transit, this data is highly encrypted. So even though it's in a third party's hands, it's totally secure. The seed loading is highly effective for if you think about the initial backup that's run by DataTrust is always going to be the biggest. Subsequent backups, even from a backup point of view, they may be incremental or differential backups, in which case only new and changed files are processed. And as well as that, we have a very effective in-file delta technology, and please look at the white paper on our website for this, that actually allows us to analyze bigger files and only transmit the portions of those files that have changed. So seed loading is, rather than sending the data over the internet, over your internet connection directly to DataTrust, we put it on a local hard drive and we ship it out by whatever means. Now there's a second use that the DataTrust seed loading utility is very handy. I'm continually asked, okay, this is how much data I've got, how well is it going to compress? I cannot tell you. Different files compress at different rates, so it's impossible to tell. With the seed loading utility, we can actually do a full compression of your data locally. We can look at the size of it post the seed loading action, and you will know exactly how well your data compresses. Okay, so we come back to the same folder that I created earlier. I have this folder on the E drive which contains our very, very valuable data which we cannot afford to lose. It's all our accounts data, and we can see them in there. So that's the folder we've backing up. We've created a job, you may recall earlier, that was backing up that folder. The backup job was called Valuable Data Backup Set. What we're going to do is we're going to run the backup job in a normal fashion, except when we come into the backup options dialog box, we make sure we have the proper backup set picked, but then we hit the options button. Now you'll see here on the third area of this backup options dialog box, you have the option to backup to, right? By default, it's saying backup to the offsite backup server, which is the normal fashion in which the DataTrust online backup operates. What we're going to do, however, is we're going to change this to the second option, which is back it up to a local hard disk, and this is what's called the seed load utility. So I'm going to create a directory for the seed load on the E drive, close to where the other one is. So I come back down here, create new folder, and we just call it seed load. Okay, we've created our seed load folder. Now when I come back here, I use the change button to browse our storage areas, medium. So we go down to the E drive, we select seed load, and we say OK. There we are. So we're saying this is the backup set we want to run. We want to seed load it into this directory locally. And I hit OK. And we can see the backup running there. And we can see that it runs very quickly because obviously it's not going over the internet connection. It's going directly onto our local hard drive. Again, similar to all other occasions, we have our log file here. I no need to go into that. I've gone into it before. We close this. The backup job is completed. Now what we can do is we can now actually get an exact measure of how much space your data will take up on the DataTrust server. We can see it's 3.71 megabytes. Also bear in mind that if that is a full seed load of our data that we want to send to the DataTrust data center, we take this drive containing this particular folder and we send it to DataTrust, and they restore it into our account and the things. So that's the DataTrust seed loading utility. It allows us big initial backups via physical media, and it also allows us measure exactly what size account we need. Thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.